Ladies, let me tell you something. You ever looked at a man and thought, why does he stay with her, not me? Oh, I know you have, 'cause she ain't the prettiest, she ain't got the best body, and she can't even cook. But that man, he's hooked, deep, emotionally attached, and you sitting there like, what in the world is going on? Let me tell you something real, something that might just shift your entire mindset about love and connection. See, we live in a world that's obsessed with the surface. It's always about how you look, how you walk, what you wear, how fine your waist is, or how cut his jawline is. But let me break it down for you. It ain't the body, it's the bond. That's what makes a man emotionally attached. That's what leaves a mark that no beauty cream or six-pack can touch. You can walk into a room and be the finest woman in there. Hair laid, nails done, body snatched, heels clicking like thunder, and yes, he'll look. Oh yeah, he'll look. But you know what else? So will every other man. Looks get attention, but they don't get devotion. You want to touch a man's heart? Go deeper. Go where most don't. Let me give you a real example. Picture this. A man is grinding day in and day out, stress at work, trying to hold it all together. Bills piling up, dreams delayed, and he's walking around with the weight of the world on his back. He comes home, and what he wants more than anything isn't a show. It's not lingerie. It's not perfect makeup. It's relief. It's comfort. He wants someone who says, baby, I got you. Sit down. You don't have to carry this alone. Do you know how powerful that is? See, a bond is built in the quiet moments, not the flashy ones. It's built when you rub his shoulders after a rough day and say, you're doing your best, and I'm proud of you. It's built when you stay up late with him helping him finish a project he's stressed about. It's built when you tell him, even if the world don't see your greatness yet, I do. That right there, that's the moment you go from temporary to unforgettable. People think emotional connection is some magical thing that just happens. Nah, it's forged like steel. It's forged in how you support him when he's unsure, how you speak life into him when he's doubting himself. That's why he stays. That's why he looks at you like you're his world, because in his darkest hour, you showed him light. Let's flip the script for a second. You ever seen a man leave a woman who's got the full package, looks, money, everything, and you think, man, he's a fool. What else could he possibly want? But what you don't see is what went on behind those doors. You don't see the way she talked down to him. You don't see how he felt alone next to her. You don't see that while she had the looks, she didn't have the bond. And that's what makes the difference. Now let's look at the flip side. You ever seen a man who's ride or die for a woman who might not be the finest, but you can just tell he loves that woman? And you sit back like, what is it about her? I'll tell you what it is. She believed in him before he believed in himself. She listened when nobody else did. She became a part of his soul, not just his schedule. She's his place of peace. And that's something money can't buy and beauty can't replace. Ladies, hear me on this. You don't have to become a different person to keep a man. You don't have to outshine every woman in the room. What you do need to do, be the one who sees him. See the little boy in him that's still healing. See the king in him that's still rising. Talk to his soul, not just his ego. That's where the magic is. Because here's the truth. When a man finds a woman who understands him, not just listens but really understands him, he finds rest. And when a man finds rest in you, you become his safe haven. You become the place he runs to, not from. And once a man connects to you like that, baby, he's not going anywhere. You see, connection isn't built through perfection. It's built through presence, through showing up when it's inconvenient, through loving him on his bad days, not just his good ones, through reminding him of his worth when he's forgotten it. That's what makes a bond. That's what separates the ones he dates from the one he builds with. It ain't the way you look in a dress. It's the way you look at him when he's broken. It ain't the way you move in the bedroom. It's the way you move when life gets hard. It ain't the body, it's the bond. And once he feels that, you'll never have to chase love again. Let's get something straight. Everybody out here is chasing romance, like it's the final prize. They want the candlelit dinners, the roses, the good morning texts, the anniversary posts on Instagram. And look, all of that is nice. But if you want a man to stay, if you want a man to truly connect and emotionally attach to you, then you need to understand this. Respect hits harder than romance. Every single time. Romance will move a man's emotions, but respect will move his soul. See, a man can buy you flowers and still not feel seen. He can take you out on dates and still feel like a stranger in his own relationship. But when a woman shows a man respect, when she speaks to him in a way that uplifts rather than attacks, that's the woman he'll fight for. That's the woman he'll trust. That's the woman who makes him feel like he can conquer the world. Let me give you a picture you won't forget. Imagine a man out here hustling, grinding, trying to make something of himself. And every day, he's hearing you're not enough, from his boss, from the world, from his past. And then he comes home and hears it from you too. Why don't you never listen? You always mess things up. What you think that does to a man? You think that motivates him? You think that brings him closer? No, it shuts him down. Because the one place he thought he could be vulnerable, he can't. But now flip that. Imagine he walks in and you meet him at the door with, "I know today was tough, but I'm proud of the man you are. You always find a way." Do you know what that does to a man? That fills him. That energizes him. That makes him look at you like you're made of gold. Because while the world tried to strip him down, you built him up. You reminded him of who he is, even when he forgot. And don't get it twisted. Respect doesn't mean blind obedience. Respect doesn't mean silence. It means honoring his humanity, even when you disagree. It means choosing words that heal, not hurt. It means correcting without crushing. You ever seen a man lose his mind over a woman and think she must be doing something wild to have him like that? Sometimes the wildest thing she did was respect him when nobody else did. I'm talking about the woman who doesn't call him out in front of his friends, even when she's mad. The woman who listens to his ideas, even when they sound crazy, and says, "All right, how can I help you get there?" The woman who tells him, "I know you can do this," when he's second-guessing himself. That's not just attractive, that's transformational. Because you need to understand something. Men are not made emotionally available by romance. They are made emotionally safe by respect. A man will give his body to someone he likes. He will give his time to someone he's attracted to. But he will only give his vulnerability to the woman he feels safe with. And safety starts with respect. Let me make it real plain. Talk to him like you're talking to the man you want him to become. Not the man you call out the king in him, not the failure. Because what you say, he'll start to believe. If you call him lazy long enough, he'll live up to it. But if you call him a fighter, a leader, a provider, even when he's down, he'll rise up for you, for himself. You want to see a man light up like a Christmas tree. Show him that you respect the effort, even when the result ain't perfect. Say, "I know that didn't go how you wanted, but I saw you give it your all." That kind of woman, she becomes irreplaceable. Because she doesn't just love the man he is, she believes in the man he's becoming. You don't have to be loud to be powerful. You don't have to win every argument. Sometimes your greatest power is in your peace, in how you handle the storm, in how you say, "We'll get through this. I've got your back." That kind of respect, it don't just hit harder than romance. It lasts longer. And here's what they won't tell you. The real test of respect isn't when things are good. It's when you're hurt. When you're mad, when he's not living up to your expectations. Can you still talk to him like a man and not a mistake? Can you still look him in the eye and say, "I'm disappointed, but I still believe in you"? That's when the bond is made. Because romance will impress a man, but respect will anchor him. Respect tells him, you are valuable, you are capable, you matter. And once a man feels that from you, not just hears it, but feels it, you become more than just a girlfriend. You become his home. Every man walking this earth is fighting a battle you may never see. Pressure from work, pressure to provide, pressure to perform, pressure to hold it all together. When inside, sometimes he's barely hanging on. You think men don't feel. You think they don't break. Oh, they break. They just do it in silence. You want to know how to make a man emotionally attached to you. Be his safe place, not his stress. We talk so much about wanting a strong man, a loyal man, a provider, a protector. But let me ask you this. When was the last time you protected him? Protected his spirit, protected his vulnerability? When was the last time you gave him space to fall apart without feeling like he was less of a man? You see, men aren't looking for perfect. They're looking for peace. Not the kind that comes from silence or distance, but the kind of peace that makes him breathe easier when he's around you. The kind of peace that says, you don't have to be anything but yourself right now. I love you as you are. That's what builds emotional connection. That's what creates attachment that doesn't fade. Let me give you a real-world image. Picture a man who's been at war all day. Maybe not with bullets, but with expectations, disappointment, rejection. He's worn down. He walks through that door. And what he's praying for, what his spirit is screaming for, is a place where he doesn't have to explain everything. A place where he can exhale. But instead he walks in and gets hit with, "Why didn't you text me back? You forgot to take out the trash. You always do this." And now the place he thought would be his peace just became another battlefield. That right there, that's how emotional walls are built, brick by brick. Not because she doesn't love him, but because she doesn't understand the weight he's carrying. And the truth is, most women don't do it intentionally. They're just tired too. They need help too. They need love too. But when two people are bleeding, and neither one feels safe enough to be vulnerable, they both lose. But now imagine this. He walks in, and before he even puts his keys down, she wraps her arms around him. No questions, no criticism, just presence. She whispers, "You good, baby?" He nods, not even trusting his voice. And she says, "All right, just sit. I've got you." Do you understand the healing in that moment? Do you know what that does to a man's soul? That's when the bond gets deeper than desire. That's when you go from being someone he dates to someone he leans on. Being his safe place doesn't mean you don't speak your truth. It doesn't mean you don't have needs. It means you learn to speak in a way that builds, not breaks. It means knowing when to talk and when to hold him. It means choosing the right moment to bring up hard conversations, not when he walks through the door, already carrying the world, but when you're both grounded, connected, and ready to grow together. It's also in how you listen. When a man opens up to you, even just a little bit, that's not a casual moment. That's a sacred one. Because trust me, it takes everything in a man to say, "I'm not okay." And when he does, you better not throw it back in his face. You better not belittle it, or mock it, or compare him to some other man. You better hold that truth like a fragile gift, because that's exactly what it is. You want to know why some men don't talk? Because the last time they did, someone used it against them. So they shut down, they pull back, they pretend, and then you wonder why he won't open up. You can't demand vulnerability. You have to earn it, and you earn it by being soft where the world is hard, being gentle when he expects rejection, being consistent when he expects abandonment. And don't underestimate the power of the little things. A hand on the back of his neck when he's stressed. A text that says, "I believe in you." Cooking his favorite meal when you know his day went sideways. Saying, "I know it's been tough, but I'm proud of how you're handling it." Those moments, they don't cost a thing, but they pay emotional dividends you can't imagine. You know what's really powerful? When a man realizes he doesn't have to put on a performance around you. He doesn't have to wear his armor. He doesn't have to be on. He can just be. He can cry. He can fail. He can dream. And you'll still be there. Not just tolerating his flaws, but honoring his humanity. That's what being a safe place means. That's where loyalty is born. Not from pressure, but from peace. So many women want to be his queen. But queens don't just wear crowns. They build castles of calm. They become the reason he fights harder, lives fuller, and loves deeper. Not because she demanded it, but because she made him feel like he could finally rest. Let me give you a real life moment. There's this woman, she's fine, no doubt. But what keeps her man coming home early, talking about it to everyone, bragging like he hit the lottery? It's not just her looks, it's the way she's always leveling up. One week she's learning a new language. Next month she's training for a marathon. She's got ambition in her veins and fire in her eyes. Every time he thinks he knows everything about her, she surprises him. And that's intoxicating. Because here's the secret. Men don't want to figure you out in one chapter. They want a novel, a journey, a woman who evolves, a woman who's always got something new brewing, a new idea, a new plan, a new layer of confidence. That's mystery. That's allure. That's what makes a man stop chasing others, because he knows he hasn't even scratched the surface of you. Maintenance, that's exhausting. It's you trying to keep up an image, walking on eggshells, keeping your emotions in check, playing by rules someone else made up. Mystery, that's freedom. That's you walking in truth, owning your energy, speaking from your soul. It's you being soft and powerful, loving and independent, unpredictable in the best way. That's the kind of woman who leaves a lasting impression, the kind who walks away and still lingers in his mind days later. You ever wonder why some women who may not be the loudest or flashiest seem to have men wrapped around their finger? It's because they don't put all their cards on the table. They allow themselves to be known but not fully consumed. They let a man into their world, but they don't hand over the entire blueprint. That keeps a man engaged, because deep down he knows this woman has dimensions. She's not done becoming, and he wants front row seats to that growth. Mystery is also how you hold your peace. Not every situation needs a reaction. Not every moment needs you to explain yourself. Sometimes it's how you respond with grace when most would snap. It's how you choose silence when your pride wants to speak. That kind of maturity, that kind of restraint, that's magnetic, that's power. Let me talk to you about confidence for a second. You don't need to be loud to be confident. True confidence is calm. It's knowing you don't need to beg for attention because your energy commands it. It's walking into a room knowing you don't have to perform, just be. That's mystery. It's the way you move when no one's watching. It's the way your life is full with or without him. That's the kind of woman a man never forgets. And please understand, mystery doesn't mean being cold. It doesn't mean being emotionally distant. It means you're not always available for every call, every crisis, every demand, because your life is full. Your schedule is sacred. Your time is valuable. You love deeply, but you don't lose yourself in the process. That balance, that space you create, that makes him lean in, makes him wonder what you're thinking, what you're dreaming, what you're creating next. A woman with mystery keeps a man on his toes, not because she's playing games, but because she's living her truth. She's not predictable. She's not stagnant. She's a moving river, not a still pond. And any man lucky enough to be close to her knows he better keep growing too, or he'll get left behind. So stop trying to maintain perfection. Stop chasing validation. Stop thinking you have to show up a certain way to be chosen. The woman who gets chosen, the woman who gets kept, isn't the one who works the hardest to please. It's the one who inspires, the one who stays curious, the one who holds space for love but not at the cost of losing her own flame. That's mystery, that's magic, and that's unforgettable. There's a rhythm to relationships that no one teaches in school. A flow between two people that's not about control or competition but balance. And one of the most powerful things a woman can master in that dance is this: let him lead but know when to drop. Now listen, this ain't about submission. This isn't about stepping back and shrinking yourself. This is about wisdom, timing. It's about knowing that strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it knows when to step forward and when to step aside. Let's be real. A good man wants to lead. He wants to provide. He wants to protect. It's hardwired in him. And when you let him step into that role, not because you have to, but because you trust him, you feed a fire inside him that burns deeper than desire. You feed his purpose. You make him feel like a man, not just because he's in charge, but because he knows you believe in him. Imagine this. He's got a plan. He's talking big dreams, building something, taking the wheel of life. And you're right there, not trying to snatch the keys from his hand, but saying, all right, baby, I see you. Let's go. You become his partner, not his competition. And that support, that belief, that's the fuel that makes him drive harder, go further, aim higher. Because when a man knows his woman respects his leadership, he wants to lead right. He wants to become better, not for control, but because he knows he's carrying both of you towards something greater. But here's where the fire really lives. You also know when it's time to drive. When the car starts swerving off course. When the destination's looking cloudy. When he's tired, overwhelmed, or just missing the mark. That's when your power kicks in. That's when you tighten your grip, slide over, and take the wheel, not to shame him, but to save the journey. Because love isn't about always letting him steer. It's about knowing that sometimes your strength is the one thing that's going to keep both of you on the road. You ever see a woman handle crisis like a queen? Calm voice, sharp thinking. She's making moves while everyone else is panicking. That's the woman who knows how to drive when life hits. She's not waiting for someone to tell her what to do. She's taking charge because that's what the moment needs. And guess what? That man, if he's a real one, he ain't intimidated. He's grateful because now he knows if I fall, she's got us. If I stumble, she'll steer. And that right there, that builds unshakable trust. This ain't about ego, it's about teamwork. Two people who know when to lead, when to follow, and when to switch lanes for the sake of the mission. And sometimes leadership means letting go of control and letting someone you love carry the torch for a while. A relationship isn't about one person always steering. It's about both of you understanding that the destination matters more than who's driving the car at the moment. Now let's talk about the flip side for a second. Some women don't know how to let a man lead. Not because they're not capable of trust, but because they've been let down before. Maybe she had to be the driver her whole life. Maybe no one ever showed her what healthy leadership looks like. So she holds the wheel with both hands, white-knuckled, refusing to let go. But that kind of grip, it wears you down. It exhausts your soul. Because deep down, even the strongest woman wants to exhale. She wants to rest in the presence of someone who can carry the load sometimes. But you can't expect him to lead if every time he steps up you shut him down. You question every move. You correct every word. You make him feel like he's never enough. And then you wonder why he stops trying. See, a man doesn't need perfection. He needs permission. Permission to lead. Permission to grow. Permission to get it wrong sometimes without being crushed for it. And when he knows that you'll let him lead with grace, and that if he ever gets lost, you'll help him find the way without turning the map into a weapon, that's when you get the best out of him. That's when he starts seeing you not just as a lover but as a partner, a teammate, a rider, someone who's in the car for the whole trip no matter how bumpy the road gets. There's a power in knowing when to move and when to hold still, when to speak and when to listen, when to step up and when to stand beside. That balance, that flow, that's what makes a relationship magnetic. That's what builds something that lasts. Because at the end of the day, real love isn't about proving who's strong. It's about building a bond where both of you can rise. Because you know when to pass the wheel and when to drive like your lives depend on it. Everybody wants to clap when a man's on top, when he's getting the promotion, when he's buying the house, when he's driving the car, when he's making moves in front of the crowd. But let me ask you this. Who's clapping when the lights are? Who's standing beside him when his mind is noisy and his confidence is shaking? That's the real test, because showing up for his soul, not just his success, is what builds a connection that no title or trophy ever could. See, men aren't always taught how to be emotionally open. From a young age, they're told don't cry, be a man, toughen up, so they become masters at smiling through the pain, performing through the pressure, and hiding what hurts them most. You want to be unforgettable to a man, learn how to see the man behind the man, not just the image he projects to the world, but the heart he's scared to reveal. It's easy to love a man when he's winning, but when he's doubting himself, when he feels like a failure, when he's not sure if he's enough, that's when your presence becomes powerful. That's when you go from being someone he dates to someone he depends on. You ever watch a man wrestle with invisible battles, the kind that no one claps for, the stress of carrying his family, the fear of letting people down, the weight of always having to be the strong one? He could be in a room full of people and still feel completely alone, until he finds a woman who looks at him and says, I see you, I don't care how much you make, how many deals you close, how many people praise you, I care about your people. You show up for his soul when you ask how's your heart and mean it, when you don't rush to fix him, but you sit with him in silence if needed while his mind settles. You show up when you remind him that he's not just valuable because of what he does, but because of who he is. You become the voice that speaks life into him, when the world is only speaking demands. Picture this. He's had a terrible week, lost a deal, got criticized at work, bills piling up, and doubt is eating at him. He walks in defeated, expecting judgment or silence, but instead he finds you. Warm eyes, open arms, no pressure. You hand him a plate of food, rub his shoulders and say, you don't have to talk if you don't want to, but I'm here, and I'm proud of you for showing up, even when it's hard. That moment right there, that's not romance, that's ministry, that's healing. When a man feels like the only time he's loved is when he's succeeding, It breaks something inside him. It makes him feel like a machine, only good for what he can produce. But when he finds someone who's there for the breakdowns, the doubts, the nights where his spirit is aching and his confidence is cracked, that's where love becomes transformative. You don't have to fix his problems. You just have to be the place where he doesn't have to pretend, where he can lay down the armor, where he can be flawed and still feel fully loved. That kind of space, that's rare, that's sacred. And when you create that for a man, trust me, he won't forget it. Don't just celebrate the wins. Sit with him through the loss. Cheer him on when he's got momentum, but carry him in prayer when he's stuck in the valley. Hold his dreams with tenderness. Remind him of who he is when life tries to tell him otherwise. That's what it means to show up for his soul. Sometimes it's the late night conversation when he's questioning his purpose. Sometimes it's you sending him a text midday that says you were born to lead. Sometimes it's holding his hand when he's grieving, or just being present when he doesn't have the words. Love isn't loud all the time. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it just listens. One of the greatest gifts you can give a man is the freedom to be human, to not have it all together, to not be perfect, and still be worthy of love. Not conditional, not performance-based, just real. Because here's the truth. Success fades, titles change, money comes and goes, but a woman who connects with a man's soul, she becomes his home. She becomes the one place he can be his full self, without fear. And that connection, that's the kind that creates root. That's what makes a man protect you, pour into you and choose you, not out of obligation, but out of reverence. So stop worrying about how to impress him. Impress his spirit. Show him that in a world that demands him to be everything, you're the one who lets him just be. That kind of love, that's legacy. So let me leave you with this. Real love ain't built on performance. It's built on presence. It's not about how well you can play a role, but how deeply you can connect with someone's soul. A man may be admired for what he achieves, but he falls in love with the one who sees him beyond the surface, who holds space for his growth, who believes in him when he doesn't believe in himself, who stands beside him, not just at the finish line but every step of the climb. Be the peace in his storm, the fire in his purpose, the mystery in his mind, and the mirror that reflects the best of who he is, even when he forgets. That's not just how you make him attach, that's how you make him never let go.